Thank you. All right. Welcome to the November 18th meeting for Western Weaver Planning Commission. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And looks like the roll call, everyone's in attendance tonight. Thank you, commissioners. And let's see, no minutes tonight, it doesn't look like, right? Okay. I always miss that, but I want to double check. Thank you, Director. Okay, our first item on our agenda and under petitions, applications, and public hearings, item 1 is administrative item 1.1, LVB 092625. Consideration and action on a request for preliminary approval of Bitton Estates Subdivision Phases 1 through 5. A proposal to develop 32.6 acres into 93 single-family lots. Director.
Thank you, Chair. As you review this, you'll be looking at code, just making sure that it complies with any DAs or codes that are associated with this. If it does, you're obligated to approve this. Everything's been set up as far as the ordinance goes, and so if they meet those requirements, they're going to follow them. As you look at this too, you'll just want to make sure that all the review agencies issues have been addressed or give condition based upon those things. The applicant will be presenting first, and after the applicant presents, then staff will present.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see Pat Burns here, but maybe he sent a representative in this.
We may want to move on to the next item and then come back to this item and be here.
All right, very good. Great. Item 1.2, LVTP 6060202525. Consideration and action on a request for preliminary approval of Tammy Subdivision Phase 6, consisting of 6 lots, public roadways, and dedication of a 15-foot wide public pathway easement connecting to the Winston Park Subdivision to the east. And on that one, it looks like we have a representative there, Mr. Fillerup. Give us your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you. My name is Selvoy Fillerup, on behalf of Heritage Land Development.
Director Grover, I'm sorry, hold up, Selvoy, did you have any comments on this?
Just fine.
I apologize.
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
Could you please state your address?
1650 in Washington Boulevard, Suite 108 in Ogden. It's 84. So this is the phase 6 of our Taylor Landing project. We did this as a development agreement, reported back in June. And the one thing that you probably noticed is that development agreement talked about phase 6 as the larger phase 6. We've since broken that up to 6, 7, and 8. Phases 6, 7, and 8. So this one we're for today. We're here for just the smaller phase 6 with 25 lots. Essentially the western side of the larger parcel next to the base of the park. And so we designed this to comply with the development agreement. We have, like I said, 25 lots and then a detention basin. The road will connect, Olsen Lane will connect 1800 south down to 2200 south. It'll also go through our phase 1B, but ultimately it'll connect both of those major roads. And as part of this, we are also dedicating some other land to the Parks District, as well as some water to go along with it. The water that we acquired from the Robledos be transferred over to the Parks Department as well. I believe that, the calculation was 101 CFS. And we are really looking forward to having this approved. Any questions?
Commissioners, any questions? Okay, we may have some of them, I think you're good for the moment.
Okay, well,
Don't go too far.
I'll stay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, you done okay? Okay, commissioners, this is a phase project that's been going on for quite a while. You've got a background of the project in your staff report, but let me kind of go through a few things. This is a request for preliminary approval of a 25 lot subdivision called Taylor Landing Phase 6, located at approximately 1800 south, 3900 west. Applicant is proposing public right of ways throughout. Pathways, we have a couple of 15-foot wide pathways. And then some street adjacent pathway as well as sidewalks throughout this subdivision. This is located in the R115 zone. This was rezoned in the R115 zone back in June, and lot sizes for that, minimum lot sizes are 6,000 square feet in area, 60 feet in width. Applicant is proposing, I'm not carrying, get down here. You got your lot sizes down at the bottom here, they are exceeding the minimum for the zone, and they're proposing lot widths that start at 60 feet and go up to a little over 80 feet in width. This is your layout. To the left is north. But if I oriented it for you, it'd be super tiny and be even more difficult to read. So you got 25 lots, and I've got a couple of labels in here that show you some pathway connections, as well as this parcel down here in the southwest corner. There's a lift station on that small parcel, and on the north side of it is a 15-foot wide pathway. And wrapping around it is some proposed open space. In discussions with the developer, they've indicated maybe an interest to just combine this open space with this parcel, just to make it easier, I think, for maintenance purposes. Planning staff prior to final approval would like to just make sure there's nothing in the development agreement that would conflict with that as far as their minimum open space requirements. We haven't had a chance to look through that thoroughly. To orient you a little bit, a couple of parcels, this is vacant land for right now. A couple of parcels away, you've got the 9.5 acre Parks District parcel that's under development. And to the east, you've got Winston Park. And then to the north, on the other side of 1800 south, you've got Stagecoach Estates. And we're continuing that road across 1800 south and down through this phase of Taylor Landing. You got a staff analysis in here. We've looked at this, compared it against both ordinance and the development agreement. The only conflict that we can see is an adjustment that needs to be made to the road cross sections that shows 4-foot sidewalks, and they should be 5. We are looking that over with engineering, and these are the conditions of approval in your staff report. The 2 in red are mentioned in the staff report, but they're not necessarily listed as conditions of approval. You may want to consider adding those, or changing the language however you will. But at this point, planning staff would recommend preliminary approval of this request, subject to all agency review requirements and conditions and findings outlined in the staff report. Any questions for me at this time?
I have one, Tammy.
Yes.
So back on if you can roll the screen back to, back to that detention area over here on what would be the south end, right?
This actually has a lift station. This would be the detention area in the northwest corner.
Northwest over here,
Yeah.
open space A, right?
Mhm.
I'm talking about the lift station, so thank you.
Okay.
So are we talking about getting rid of the what would be on the west and the south part, or combining that in with that lot? Is that what make sure I'm understanding that right.
So we're not making a requirement to combine this in, the developer has simply expressed an interest to combine this small open space parcel with the parcel that has the lift station.
And yeah, my only concern there is that it doesn't become a nuisance for
Right.
weeds and whatever potential could be there. So if it makes sense for that to be combined for, ease of maintenance or whatever, that's all good with me. Commissioners, any comments or questions? Looks. Go on.
The road, so they are accessing like, oh, sorry, a road that goes to the park, is that what that is?
This here, let me go back here to the first slide that gives a little bit of an overview. The park parcel is over here. I hope I-
To the west, correct?
To the west, yes. This is where this subdivision is located here. Parks parcel is located further to the west than what's in the map extent. So there will be some connection through other phases. I think phases 7 and 8 will be over here.
I'm sorry to interrupt, we can't see your cursor.
Sorry, I guess you can't. To the left of the highlighted parcels
Is the park.
is the park. Yeah, it's just out of the screenshot for you. So Selvoy can probably answer exactly which phases are gonna be to the left. We haven't reviewed phases 7 and 8 just yet. Those are in process right now, but eventually we'd like some kind of connection there. I know the parks parcel is gonna have, I believe, a pathway connection to the east coming out of it. I don't know that there's necessarily any roadway connection coming out of a 9.5 acre parcel at this time.
Mr. Fillerup, it looks like you wanted to make a comment maybe.
I just wanted to add some clarification. So yes, what you see on that west side, on the bottom of the screen there, the stub road is the one that's going to the park. And then, but you can also see, Tammy has labeled the 15-foot pathway on the southern area near the lift station. And then also another pathway is on the north that kind of wraps over by the, where this is also that stormwater detention site, there's a little pathway there. We purposely left those so that the parks could determine what they wanted to do, how they wanted to connect, and how they wanted to flow through the park. But there are two pathway connections on the north and south, and then there will be a pathway that kind of goes through, kind of with the stub road. The pathway will be connected to the park as well.
That's the one coming from the east, and it makes a jog basically.
Yeah, it's gonna come, yeah, exactly. There's a 15-foot pathway that's gonna connect through phase 7 to go to the east, and then through phase 8 as well to connect to the Winston Park. So there will be a pathway connection from Winston Park.
But when it gets down here to the 38 or 3900 street, it won't go straight through. There'll be, if you're coming down that pathway, you'll have to come across to the north and then to the west to get to the park.
Correct. Well, and the reason for that is because there's also a pathway that runs north and south along 3900, the east side of 3900.
I just want to make sure I got this correct. So the reason the pathway on, I guess, the top of our page, that pathway is where it is because it connects, it's planning to connect to something above. That one does connect right there. Okay. Okay.
Eventually.
Yeah, very eventually.
Okay, because otherwise you probably would have lined it up with
Yeah.
the road. Okay.
Okay, I have a question also. So this is future phases, I'm looking at where we connect onto Winston Park, correct? Okay, so I'm very familiar with that area and I'm not seeing how you're connecting pathways to Winston Park.
Well, on this phase, we're not, it's gonna be phase 7 and 8, well, phase 8 will be the one that connects to the park, and it's lined up with their pathway, I believe it's lots 108 and 109. We don't have that in it, but to try to show off how much I know about Winston Park. But
So directly east of what we're looking at tonight is gonna be another phase, which is phase, did you say 8?
Well, that'd be phase 7 and then phase 8 even further east than that.
Is for, okay, and then those are what's gonna connect pathway on further to the east and eventually to Winston Park.
Right. We anticipate having that on the review for next month.
But isn't Winston Park built out on that end already?
That's what, I mean, there's a couple lots left, but I know that area very well, and I don't know that they're where, I'm sorry, I apologize, I just can't see where it's connecting to that west boundary of Winston Park.
So Winston Park went through a subdivision amendment. They purchased some land back from a couple of lots along their western boundary
Okay.
in order to purchase that pathway, that 15 feet of pathway, and dedicate it for public use.
Okay.
So we don't have an updated plat quite yet because the recording of it is very recent. Is it recorded, Tiffany? I think
The
it just
pathway, the path, oh yeah, it's recorded
just recorded.
Okay, that makes sense to me now. Thank you for that.
That's
Couple
why
weeks ago.
Here, because it's not on here
Yes, yes.
yet. Okay,
Thank you for that. Sorry if I jumped too far ahead, but I was looking at the future. A little bit.
great, good job.
I would probably ask Selvoy as well. One of the requirements is that 21 acres of open space be dedicated to the park. And so it might be good if Mr. Fillerup wanted to confirm which parcels those are. Are those immediately to the east of the existing 9.5 acre piece?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the 9.5 acre on this particular shot that we're seeing is kind of that strip that comes in from 1800 and then it gets a little bit wider and then it gets narrower again. Is that the original 9 acres?
I think that's right. I think it's the one just below the little dot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Be south of the blue dot there.
And so we're dedicating the area to the west of the red highlighted.
Right, right. So between, yeah, okay. So here to where we can't see over here.
Right, because that's that far west boundary is in the western side of the park. Right. So everything in between.
But it's out of this picture.
It's out of
That western boundary's out of it, yeah. Okay. All right, commissioners, anything else?
I do, sorry, I know we've already talked about it, I'm just not understanding it still, I guess. The lift station. Can you just explain the placing, like how it's gonna be laid out or what it's gonna be filmed?
Well, the lift station's already there.
Right, but what we wanna do with the parcel.
Oh. We had that land. And we weren't sure if we wanted to, who wanted it, if we wanted to give it to the county to make that parcel a little bit bigger and a little more space. Or give it to the parks. I don't know if it would really do much for the park, but thought it might add some bit of a buffer in the park and the lift station. We don't really. We don't have a productive use, we don't have a productive use for it, we thought it would be just better for the, for the county to have more space there at the lift station.
And Tammy, you're saying that the county doesn't really want that in addition to
How much space is it?
We haven't engaged in any serious discussions of it. It was simply mentioned as we were getting ready for this meeting. So
Just the L shape, right, because the lift
Yeah.
stations take occupying of everything.
the reason why I brought it up is if things change between preliminary and final, I didn't want you guys to be surprised at seeing a slightly different lot boundary layout. That's something.
And it's the L, it's that complete L, and that L makes up the 5,820 square feet, is that right? Okay. As long as it gets maintained somehow. And I don't know, Director Grover, do you have any, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's a ton more for the county to take, but at the same time. Maybe the Parks District or, it just needs to be maintained.
Yeah,
That's all.
I think if we work internally and get it resolved, so it is maintained, that's the biggest concern.
Yeah.
I don't know if the county really wants it, but, we probably need to do some negotiation.
Why is sorry, Rick. Why don't we just make that part of the pathway? Was that just a weird pathway to be big and oblong like that?
I think so, because the pathway, it runs east and west, just right past it, between the lift station and the lot.
So who maintains where the lift station is? Is that Central Weaver or is that Weaver County?
That would be most likely Weaver County in conjunction with Central Weaver. There may be some other clauses that in agreements that I'm not aware of, but most likely the county.
So could the pathway be on the opposite side of that? Where it's at, it's on like, right now it's on the left, could it be on the right hand side?
It's a lot bigger and then.
Right,
Yeah,
and then that not be there, and then that, and then.
Get the lots bigger.
Right, make that lot bigger and then figure out. I mean,
The reason for the pathway, the locations it's at is because of the intersection. Yeah, it has a sidewalk.
It lines up.
So you have that alignment.
It lines up with what is that 1975 south, right?
We online, that becomes a major hurdle for the commission. I'm sure we'll figure out a way to work around it, but yeah. They're trying, but that's why I put it there to begin with.
The only concern is that it gets maintained somehow.
Yeah.
Because we've got too many areas with small little pieces like that, and some of them are larger than that don't get maintained. They're just nuisance, you know, so that's my concern.
I think it makes sense that we give it to the county. But if they don't, I'm sure the people that are on the lots behind it would take it also and incorporate it into their lots. But I think it makes sense that the county owns it. In case they ever have to do any repairs or anything, and they will.
And it's not a huge amount, so.
I think that was my question, is that what we were proposing? Third phase and just one of the lots, those top, I apologize. One of the lots that would back that would just incorporate with that lot, is that what you were saying earlier?
Well, this on the west side of it, here's the
Yeah.
park.
Oh, so that is part.
And so you, it is.
It's a park.
Yeah, make a
Put
park.
a,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, make
put a bench there. I don't know.
Yeah, put a little
Yeah.
place for the kids to play or something.
Anything could go there. It's right next to the, but the park's
Sure.
there.
I think I'd be fine with that as long as it doesn't count towards what was already promised to the parties. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, we're at this point now, we're not gonna actively calculate on that. We would leave, we renew, everything with this.
Well, small details are the biggest pain.
I know. But you know, you gotta deal with them, so, just the way it goes.
Good. Commissioners, anything else? Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Fuller.
Thank you.
Tammy, did you have anything else for us?
I don't think so. Do you have any questions for me?
Questions? Okay. Seeing none, we'll be ready. I'll ask for a motion.
Okay, so I need anything now?
Okay.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion. Motion that we recommend final approval to take final approval of the Taylor Landing Subdivision Phase 6 consisting of 25 lots in the R1 15 zone and based on the proposed plan adhering to the requirements of the Weaver County Land Use Code and the recorded development agreement entry number 3374134. This recommendation is for approval, this recommendation for approval is subject to all review agency requirements based on the following conditions. All engineering comments shall be addressed prior to submitting for final approval. Engineered plans shall show compliance with street cross sections, including pathway and sidewalk width requirements prior to acceptance of an application for final approval. Final letters of approval shall be submitted from Taylor West Weaver Water Hooper Irrigation Company prior to submitting for approval of the final plat. 5-foot sidewalks to be shown on final engineering and this last one, I need to make sure it's right, so help me put it wrong. 21 acres be dedicated to park space prior to recording. And water share, and the the water, the well water shares, right?
Water.
Yeah, well water, right, it's to the Parks District as well.
Parcel A maybe.
If you want to. Yeah, I don't know, is that one, are we recommending that I go to the parks? Be included with,
Just that it may be considered.
okay, and then condition 6 would be that the parcel surrounding the lift station. Parcel A be considered, for dedication to the parks.
Okay. Any adjustments to that? Are we good?
Just one clarification, we are doing final. Not preliminary, is that correct? Just because our agenda says preliminary approval. And the recommendation says final approval.
I'm not talking about something else on the front where it says preliminary. Selby P 6060525. Then the packet it's LBT 0606523.
The agenda has the correct file number and it is for preliminary.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay, so I need to make an amendment that this is a preliminary approval of, and I didn't mention the item number previously, I don't think so. Okay, LBT P 6060525. Is that correct, Tammy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Any further clarification on the motion? Okay, I have a motion. I'll ask for a second.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Is this straight up or do we have to do roll call for it? Or do you just do straight up? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, next item on our agenda, we'll go back to item 1. LVB 092625. It's already been introduced unless you would like me to introduce it again, Mr. Burns, that's your call.
I thought we were getting tabled, right? For a month or 2.
And the director was on your side tonight.
Thank you, Lee.
Okay, give us the what for on that thing.
Pat Burns, 2607 North Burns Lane. Good to be here, see you guys again. Apologize for being late. 24th Street was backed up all the way to I-15, hadn't seen that in quite a while, so sorry. I do want to say it's good to be home. I really like being at this planning commission. I have another one right after this I'm not looking forward to. I'm not gonna tell you who it is, but it's in Tremont. So this development, we had the rezone done. Like 3 months ago. But just want to kind of go over a couple things on it really quick. One of the things that we needed to get done that was a little different was we needed to get we wanted to get or you guys were asking us to get the trail off of our property and down the easement for Hooper irrigation and cross over a private property owner's land. We're able to get it. We got it all done. Easement's been approved. We paid for it we bought it from the easement. We bought the easement, not the land. For Hooper irrigation, we've got the contracts all going. We had to fence the confluence and do some other things, but we're getting all that done. Everything's been signed off, ready to go. So that was a big one. That was the one I was crossing my fingers, really hoping we can get done. Luckily, the landowner was willing to work with us too, because we had to cross 2 people's property. So it was really good, worked out really, really well, and we got that done. The other thing is I had a phone call from a neighbor just asking about the irrigation. Wanted to make sure we brought that up. Absolutely, we are piping the irrigation. It's actually be better flow to him. Anytime you go from open ditch to a piped, I mean, Andrew, I know you don't know about it, but trust me, with you. But he'll get better water and a better service and probably more control behavior. I don't know what his end circumstance is, but it will be better improvement to his water, not worse. And then you know, obviously we focused a lot on the road connectivity and trail connectivity through the whole development. I think this was a pretty well thought out design plan, and again, really enjoy working with your staff, they're great people, and any questions for me, kind of very cool, any questions?
Mr. Burns, I have one quick question that just came up when reviewing this. As far as that new trail, first of all, thanks for getting it. I know that was previous commissioner, he was really adamant about you doing that, and I just commend you for getting something that you didn't actually own, working with the landowner and irrigation company to make that happen, so thank you.
The
My question,
landowner was real pain, I mean, he was horrible to work with and a nightmare.
but thanks for even taking that task, but my question is, where you see that trail start, maybe we could pull up on there. I wanna make sure, I know that there's open ditches and it's gonna be, you're piping it in. But where it's gonna be open ditch and it's gonna have a trail there, is there gonna be some kind of fence there to keep kids out of that open ditch?
Yes, so that was
That's
one of the
it.
requirements of Hooper was we've actually already got, it should be in next week.
Okay,
So we did fence, there's a confluence where the main pipe comes in and splits into two different, the reverse confluence, I don't know what it's called, but where it splits into two different ditches, the rest of those ditches are piped.
okay,
So it's just that whole open area, it's trying to have 60 by 40 area that we are fencing in as we speak.
cool.
And that was actually their requirement, we had a fence before they would sign it. We paid for it, got all the agreements, but they wanted the fence actually in before they would sign the agreements.
Okay.
And sign the easement, so that's all we did.
We've noticed a few of those in the community and as I said, we're open for a long time.
Yeah, and I think
We wanna make
that's
sure that's
why
done.
Hooper was requiring us before we even do it, we put the fence in first, and we
Great.
were absolutely fine with that.
Cool, thank you.
And you're coming with the trail it comes straight west to 4100 west.
Yes. And then we'll be putting the trail down 41 to 900, right from the school. And then the county is actually putting the whole, that I've heard the county is, we're putting the trail through the rest to school. That's what I believe.
And then to continue the trail, maybe this is more of a question for Director Grover. To continue the trail, there will be a continuation of the trail over the canal on going west to 4700.
It's planned, but it hasn't fully been secured.
Okay,
I'll try to buy some ground near that, finish it off for you.
that'd be great.
Work on that.
Mr. Burns, I wanna say in the very beginning of this, we talked about you doing improvements on, is it 4300 west, so that is 4100, that's still part of the plan as well.
Yes,
right?
41
Even
and
existing
on
homes.
41 and the opposite street, 36 going there. We're taking it down to where it is and home stopped.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
Commissioners, anything else?
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you. Felix?
Thank you, good evening. I have a few slides I'd like to share. And we'll just kind of run through some of the details. We can take a look at the overall, just the vision area. And taking a look at that image on the right there, or excuse me, on the left, where you have that red outline, it does occupy several parcels on several different ownership. You have Musgraves, you have Bittons and Herrick's, all of these. So they are interested in how this development looks. You can notice by the street names, you've got some family names on streets, so they've listed homes that way. And so the Bitton Estates Subdivision is requesting preliminary approval tonight. And it's a proposal to develop 93 lots from that 32.6 combined area. This was area that was recently rezoned to the R115, and it's come through the planning commission before. You probably recognize this development, and we were able to take plenty of public comment as well as staff recommendation and some of the things that were implemented into this plan that we're going to show you today. And so here's kind of the overall plan showing phasing. And We have a lot count as well that's associated with each phase. Phase 1 and 2, obviously the bulk of the development, and then 3 or 4 of the remaining lots. And so another thing that we can kind of gain from this image is, you know, just the way the streets were designed to provide access to adjacent lands when, you know, time comes, if that land ever develops, as well as, you know, getting some 10-foot pathways and 5-foot sidewalks throughout. And developing these lots under the R115 zone, many of them range from 6,000 square feet up to pretty sizable lots that could have half acre plus. You can see lot 132 is about 25,000 square feet. But then you have some smaller ones that are like to call 6-packs, lots 14 and 109, where they would be around 6,000 or 7,000 square feet. And this map is also helpful to show you the detention basin area, as well as the pathway connection there on the south side that was discussed earlier about coordination with Hooper Irrigation Company to get that trail pathway. You know, most efficient route would be straight west, so that's when that comes to fruition, it should be a very valuable public amenity. Going on to the next slide is this eastern portion of the development. We're showing, again, similar situation where you have roadway stubs. One thing that I can bring your attention to is if you look at lots 222, 223, 209, 208, there's a little bulb out there in the street. Typical cross section here would be designed as such, where you have 36 feet of asphalt, and then you come to a little pulled out point, a raised crossing for that pathway. That's something that was stated in the development agreement and put into design in this plan. You can see as you come to that narrowing, that pathway crossing, the road width is 24 feet. Still plenty of feet for plenty of area for two-way traffic. The only other thing I'd like to mention is that when you're coming upon these street crossings, you also have a requirement for some signage for pedestrians, automobiles that, you know, hey, there's a crossing here, or slow down. So this is a great traffic calming method that will be implemented with this plan. You can see you also have the cross section for the trail easements, 20-foot trail easement with 10 feet of looks like a concrete path in this plan. Here's more images of the road cross sections for the different street types that exist in this development, as well as what would be done along 4100 west and 3600 west. Street trees, 5-foot sidewalk, and rolled gutter. So here's our landscape plan. This is something that is required with every development plan, and we have it included with the engineering plans, showing the street layouts in relation to the trees and spacing of those trees. The intention here is to have the trees where at full maturity, those trees branches would actually we provided this canopy along this roadways. And so going on to some of the standards that will be considered along with the subdivision review, in this case preliminary subdivision review. Zoning and site development standards, road connectivity, and the zoning development. And the staff's recommendation for this project is to grant preliminary approval of the Bitton Estates Subdivision with their phasing plan. And this recommendation is based on the conditions listed here and found in your staff report. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Questions, Commissioner?
I have a question, maybe, sorry, folks, but maybe for Derek Grover, both of them, I'm sure. We were just kind of spitballing and thinking of ideas as far as we know we have the contribution that goes to the parks for $7,500 per lot. We were wondering if it was, because we see the importance of our trail systems, if we could apply some of that or all of that to the trail systems instead of parks maybe in this case. I don't know if that's, I mean, again, it's just kind of a off the wall idea. But for the developer, it wouldn't change anything other than if we gave them the opportunity to implement some of those trail systems, but.
We haven't looked at that, but that's something that we could, look at the cost of that and how to compare the contribution. So it's, equitable.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to bring up this idea, I guess, but
Yeah, I like that.
okay, thank you.
Anything else, Commissioners? All right. Last one. When you're ready.
Here I'll make a motion that we recommend a preliminary approval of the Bitton Estates Subdivision. Phases 1 through 5 consisting of 93 single family lots. This recommendation is based on all review agency requirements and all the conditions 1 through 5 listed in our staff packet tonight. And based on the findings from our packet.
Well, I forgot as well, but do we need to list the item number? It's not, does that matter?
It's helpful to have that.
Okay.
Okay, and that is item LVB 092625.
Any other clarifications to the motion? Okay, I'll ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, next item on our agenda is a legislative item. 2.1 GPA 2025-01 public hearing on a request to amend the Western Weaver General Plan culinary water use table on page 141. Add information regarding the water conservation stakeholder committee on page 141. And add action item to pages 157 to 160 that incorporates state requirements for water conservation. Director Grover. Commissioner, if you like this, you'll be voting on a recommendation to the planning commission. This is a legislative item, and so as such, you'll need to have a public hearing, or we'll close the public hearing with a motion. And this is staff initiated. Actually, it's required by the state, so they're initiating us to do this. Which is a good thing. And Mr. Lleverino will be presenting.
Yes. Well, thank you. This one is much brighter than the other one. I kind of go back and forth between dark and bright, but this one keeps us awake. We'll try to keep this moving pretty quickly, and then we can go through some of the amendments that we're planning for that Western Weaver General Plans. The purpose of the amendments would be to share information and include this information with the general plan, information that we collected from the Water Conservancy, Water Conservation Stakeholder Committee. And that stakeholder committee was organized by the planning office, and we were able to organize different representatives from the water NGCs in Western Weaver. And so we held, I believe it was like 4 or 5 meetings, starting in spring, throughout the summer, and wrap things up in the fall. And I think we've come up with some pretty good changes. We're so excited to present what we have, kind of a final finished product. And I have what was provided in your staff reports and packets is pretty much carbon copy of what we have on the slides. But So what I'll do is I'll just run through these general plan amendments. And then we can take any comment, public comment, and whatever is needed from there. And so just kind of a general overview of what this general plan applies to. That area highlighted in yellow is what the Western Weaver general plan covers. Any development that's related to residential, commercial, industrial, agricultural, would be, yes, under the purview of the Weaver County planning staff, and we would apply the goals, principles, and actions from the general plan to help to conserve water. You know, it's really the bottom line. And there's plenty of goals that we have in place from not only Weaver Basin. They were very instrumental in helping with this general plan amendment, but also Taylor West Weaver Water District. And so they are water entities big water entities that serve many customers in Western Weaver area. This is the amendment that would be taking place on page 141. And you can see we kept much of the language that it exists, and that the amendment would actually add just basically talking about the stakeholder community, and also some of the recommendations that come from the Utah Department of Water Resources that we're going to touch on a little further. And this is an amendment that would be made to page 141, the water use table. This information we were able to gather from Taylor West Weaver Water, and there was a slight correction that I made to this table to make it just accurate. In this case, we had some recommendations from the Taylor West Weaver Water District. And so these numbers here are what we would like to put into the general plan as an update to the existing table. The existing table, we have numbers from it's, I want to say 2021, when the general plan was first adopted. And which is pretty standard. I mean, as things change, the county grows, goals, objectives can maybe shift a little bit. So it's appropriate for the planning commission and the county to make slight amendments and adjustments to be more fitting with our goals. And on page 142, the existing text with, you can see it mentions the Division of Water Resources. But there are also some added information that we could add to that. And so it really talks about, the division has we're able to obtain some valuable feedback with the stakeholder committee and with the Division of Water Resources to identify agricultural ground, and also to include with the general plan a table showing the projection what the future the water demand projection overlaying on the future water supply. And here we also have amendments to page 157 through 158. We were able to communicate with the Department of Agriculture and Food, and that's something that came from the state that we reach out to them. So they were able to provide us with some good information. And there's also some good educational opportunities that would apply to farmers in Western Weaver. So that's something that the county staff is going to be taking part in for education. And then let's see here. Again, a lot of these you're probably pretty well familiar with, and I can run through these in great detail. But let me go to the next slide. And so one of the things that was recommended from the Division of Water Resources that we put some timelines and timeframes to achieve these goals. And so that's what we've done. We've added some timelines and things like that. So let's see, going on to the next one. Again, the text in red is what's being added. So just so that's clear. Here, let's see. So one of the things that the county would like to pursue is going above and beyond. And so there's obviously some ways that we can conserve water, but if we can set a goal to even surpass our goals, then that's what that first item there is 1.2.8. Let's see here. The use of smart watering, and a lot of these things we are already implementing through development agreements. And also on line 54, it talks about the some educational opportunities. The Department of Agriculture was kind enough to make an offer that they could actually come out and do some educational presentations, talking about some of the grants, some of the extra funding that's available if farmers are ready to convert their systems to a more conservative watering methods. And then on page 160, we're still in the public utilities and services portion of the general plan. I've included an additional objective that would say that the county will continue to support its existing water ordinance, that adequate water supplies and facilities are in place prior to issuance of building permits for all new subdivisions, and we'll extend the same to site design and feeding system. In essence, what that means is that we would take an active approach in making sure that as we review developments, we're reviewing them for water conservation, and really just applying what we have in code, as well as when we see opportunities for additional water conservation measures, we can apply those as well. Let's see here. Conduct mapping projects for each water entity to pinpoint areas of antiquated water facilities and equipment. And so, as cities and counties begin to age, there are some needed improvements, and some of these improvements actually can make a big impact in how far that water goes. Some of the antiquated facilities may have water loss due to just antiquated facilities, and so that's another thing that we would set an action item to work with water entities to address some of that water loss through antiquated facilities. So let's see here. We have some timelines in there. Line 66. Seeking out grants to fund repairs and replacements to upgrades. That makes sense. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see here. So I think there are definitely some advantages of having the state building committee where we were able all to get together in the same room. Entities that don't necessarily work together on a daily basis, but nonetheless, they have the opportunity to have the contact information of these representatives from each entity, so that they can reach out across entities and maybe collaborate and that's what this first with line 69 is all about. This planning department would take it upon themselves to, you know, organize a list of contacts, information, emails, share it with all the water entities, that way they have that information. Let's see here. Also including the water entities with the review of development agreements. Typically, when we put together a development agreement, it's staff, planning commission, developer. The water entities don't necessarily get to see, especially the early stages of the development agreement. So we thought that would be a good opportunity for them to look at what we have. And then, let's see here. So there also should be a means, this is something that came across through the stakeholder team, there should be a means for development in areas that they may not have access to secondary water. In which case, the county would fall back on the requirements of the culinary water provider. If the culinary water provider is unable to serve that property because they don't have secondary water, that could cause, you know, some issues. So the county actually has a means for development in these areas where they don't have access to secondary water. They would enter into a covenant, and that covenant restricts the placement of landscaping. So pretty much no outdoor watering, and that covenant would be enforced and recorded on title and by the county, and that would allow the culinary water provider to still serve this property for indoor water use only. Again, that would take some cooperation. I know there are some districts in the county that won't serve at all if they don't have secondary water. So we're hoping that this might be able to bridge that gap. And then going on to thanks for sticking with me on that. I did a lot of talking on that one, sorry. So staff's recommendation. So the planning commission is acting as a recommending body to the county commission in this circumstance. What we would do is we would take this very same presentation to the county commissioners, and then it would be implemented into the general. So staff recommends that the county commission consider this general plan amendment and, you know, offer any feedback you might have. It's never too late, even after the meeting, if you feel like maybe you feel like something else needs to be included or some changes, please let us know. We can get them included. Let's see here. If the planning commission is comfortable with the proposal, a positive recommendation to the county commission should be passed. So thank you, and thank you for
you. Commissioners, any questions or comments?
Well, I have one question. Since I were fortunate to have two members of our board that serve on the West Weaver Water District. Question is how far does our desert scape going to go? Are we prepared to handle something like that?
Will you please speak into the microphone?
Oh, and approve lots for primary water only. I think it's a good idea.
I'm not on the water board. My concern is just that, with the regulation. And the reason the culinary water providers do not want to provide water is because even if there are restrictions, it's really hard to regulate whether that dry scape stays dry, or if they just start using their culinary water. So I don't know if we have a means in place to regulate it, but that would be the hurdle. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm okay with how it's written, and I think it's something we should work towards, but that's the concern, I would say.
Yeah, I tend to agree with what Sarah had to say about that. I got a couple of comments. I think that it's a good first cut. I don't think it's the end. I think that, you got some issues, the, local canal companies, didn't show up enough in my mind, because they're the ones that's gonna be affected the most. When we start the, ag conversion over to Weaver Basin for Culinary. And so I guess where I'm at on this is somehow we need to keep a group of people, including canal companies, in a room from time to time and discuss how we're really gonna do that. Because our local canal company, they don't want to hear anything about having less water in that canal. Then you take 100 shares out of there and convert it, then that's 100 shares not in the canal. And so I just think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done with this. The other comment I have is to me, in the end, I believe that probably one water company would be better than primary and secondary. And when they reach a limit, they get the money out of their pocket. And to me, that serves twofold. It would, I think, help have better utilization of water, but at the same time, people that developers don't need to charge for secondary water. Impact fees, putting it all in, to me, over 30 years is a lot of money. So I think that there's a lot of work that can be done yet, and I don't think we should, like say, a good cut, but I think we need to keep on the burner how we can even do better. So anyway, that's my 2 bits on it.
Else, any other questions for staff? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and open, I'll ask for motion to open a public hearing.
Motion.
I'll ask for second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are in public hearing, so anybody from the public that wants to get up and give us some comments or questions or concerns about this, now's the chance. Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. I'll ask for motion.
So move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we're out of public hearing. So now back to the just a couple of comments from me. Going through that process was really good because we had good representation here, except from the canal companies. We had Weaver Basin, Weaver County, we had Planning Commission, we had Bona Vista Water, Taylor West Weaver Water. It was a good process and it stirred up a lot of conversation. To the comment that, or question comment that Commissioner McCormick asked, and I think it's very feasible that those areas can be served with culinary water. And the xeriscaping, desert scaping, whatever you want to call it. I think that in the end, at the end of the day, as now this is to bring in the conversation that Commissioner Andriotti was talking about. As the ag water is converted, I think we're gonna find out that, yes, we live in a desert and we're dry and we live year to year. But there overall, on the average, is probably going to be enough water to cover areas with secondary water use. I'm not saying it should be 2 separate systems because I agree that one system should be able, and so did Weaver Basin, that one system can supply both uses without a problem, and it's probably cheaper and more efficient that way. But also, to get back to the point of the amount of water, I think that once that starts getting spread out, there's plenty of water to take those areas where they're gonna be xeriscaped and have water for culinary. That's how I think that as we go through the process, if I live long enough to see it through, or to see that kind of development where that's actually pertinent, I really think that's at the end of the day what would happen. So anyway, for whatever that's worth, there's my comments. Commissioners, I'll ask for a motion to approve that unless anyone else has any questions or comments. Okay. Motion.
Sarah and I were going greedy.
Make these motions.
All right, Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Thank you.
A motion that we move forward with a positive recommendation to the county commission for file number GPA 2025-01, a planning staff driven application to amend the Western Weaver General Plan Culinary Water Use Table on page 141, add information regarding the Water Conservation Stakeholder Committee on page 141, and add action items to pages 157 through 160 that incorporate state requirements for water conservation. I do so with the following findings. The changes are supported by the Western Weaver General Plan. The proposal serves as an instrument to further implement the vision, goals, and principles of Western Weaver General Plan. The changes will enhance the general health and welfare of Western Weaver residents.
Okay. A motion will ask for a second.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second. This one's gotta be roll call, right? Okay, Commissioner Clons,
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers,
Aye.
Commissioner Wickram,
Aye.
Commissioner Novell,
Aye.
Commissioner McCormick,
Aye.
Commissioner Andreotti.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda. Public comments for items not on the agenda. You're our only public. I hope you stuck around for something.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, my name is Alan Frankie. I actually been sitting here from the Bitton Subdivision. But you weren't taking public comment on that tonight, so this is my opportunity. Not sure if Mr. Burns was referring to me about the neighbor that called about the irrigation water. I don't know. But I just wanted to get on the public record this evening and let you know, we own property to the north of the Bitton subdivision in phases 2 and 3. And I spoke with Mr. Burns last spring during the rezoning process to let him know that the irrigation ditch that runs through the Herrick property feeds our property. And that's very important to us. I know he's indicated to you that all of those ditches will be piped and taken care of and everybody will be very happy. I'm a trust but verify kind of person, as I know you are. I haven't seen it on the plans. Even though I talked to him last March. I spoke with their engineer, Mr. Ken Hunter from Winston Associates. He wasn't aware that ditch fed anything farther north, which is concerning to me. So he indicated to me, Ken Hunter, the engineer, indicated to me that he would be in touch with me and that we could walk the property and that I could see what they are planning on doing. That hasn't happened yet. That was a couple of weeks ago. I have spoken with Mr. Burns. And frankly, I'm a little concerned that the details are in the plan. Devil's always in the details. So I just wanted to be on the public record tonight and let you know that's a concern to me. Oh, you want my address probably, 3718 West, 600 South. Ogden, Utah, West Weaver, whatever you want to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. And just, let you know, that was discussed in our pre-meeting, that concern. And that's why we made the motion pretty distinctly that, the language is there for you to be protected. So Director Grover, any comments or?
And
Right.
Felix,
Yes.
have you seen any pipe go further north on this preliminary plan?
Not yet. They haven't really implemented those. They haven't implemented those changes to the engineer plans yet. But I actually, just before the meeting, I will go and visited with Tucker Waite, one of our engineers. And he mentioned that they do look at that in great detail when they review the construction plans and stuff. So I would imagine the next version that's coming in, which The final, yes, would show the
detail of the
yes.
Mr. Frankie, I just wanna say I'm really glad that you're bringing these issues. It is, what's really hard out west is we only know what we know. Or, you know,
Exactly.
and not a lot of these things aren't well documented, so I would continue to follow up with engineering to make sure that that concern is resolved, because us as a planning commission. We don't have a lot of control over it. It is by code, it is supposed to be taken care of, and it's supposed to be taken in the approvals, but if no one is aware of it, they can't, so I appreciate you contacting the developer and being persistent to make sure that.
Yes,
gets taken care of.
and we'll continue to do that. My father-in-law makes sure that I. He'd be here tonight, but he's 92.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your service. You have a tough job.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Planning commissioners, anything to say?
I have to say, I feel left out. I was not told to wear my blue and white check shirt. I was told where my. But I wore blue. I was trying to fit in.
The director gives these to us.
I figured.
Oh, you guys can get one.
Feels like dinner.
Well, you get one when you turn 75.
Okay.
Oh, couple more years.
Couple more years for me.
Perfect. All right, anyone else?
I've got something, there was a little note in our local Warren webpage. Jeff Davis, who used to serve on the planning commission for Greece, I guess has a group of students that has come up and, surveyed western Weber County, looking at the ag and everything that goes on and with the development and everything. And they're gonna make a presentation over at Westfield High on December 5th, I think from 6 to 8. And I think that, my advice to Jeff would be to take that up to Box Elder County, because they have a very robust ag system up there still. But anyway, I think I'll go over and see what the young kids come up with. Might be kind of interesting. And so I just thought I'd pass that along to the group. If you're really bored, need to get out of the house, 5th of December.
Especially between the holidays, because there's nothing else going on. Anything else, Commissioner?
No.
Commissioner Quantz?
Oh, poor Charlie, if you have a subdivision with no secondary water, what will happen to those street trees?
Well, we can
So
alter that required.
Oh, swirl.
That's it.
Anything else, commissioners?
I have just one thing. I just wanna tell you guys, thank you for the care that you put into what you do. This is where I live. That's why I even did this in the first place, and I don't know that it will continue on for me just because of circumstances, but a lot of the stuff that we have talked about the last few months is my neighborhood. It's my streets, it's my parks, it's my schools, and so I'm super grateful for the thought and attention that you guys put into serving in our community, so thanks for that.
Thank you. And it's very nice for us to hear that, even though you're one of us, but having been motivated to do this because of where you live, it's, thank you for the compliment.
It's good to have firsthand input.
Yes, it is for sure. And we hope that maybe you'll be able to work it out so that you stay with us, but
I'll see what I can do.
you gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway. No, you've been a great asset. So anyway, anything else, commissioners? Okay, Director Grover? I have nothing. Happy Thanksgiving. Okay, and do you want to speak for Liam? He always has a lot. Yeah, let's.
I had no comment.
I have no. Said. Motion. Got all for adjourned. I'll ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor? Get it.
Aye.
Hi.
Here, adjourned.
That.
Kitty? Yeah, I have one.